It is 6:40 a.m. in Akron, Ohio, and the ATM will not give you $40. It gives you a receipt instead. Available balance, negative $11.40. The man waiting behind you is named Howard, you will learn later, and he looks at the ceiling instead of the screen, which is the kindest thing anyone does for you all week. You fold the receipt into your coat pocket with the other three. Your car is idling in the lot because the starter is dying and you cannot risk turning the key twice. Nobody in this parking lot knows your name. In 30 years, nobody will know your number either, and that will be the whole design. This is your life at every stage of quiet money, from the bottom of the account to the very top of it, told by no one, because the entire point is that no one is supposed to know. Stage 1, the overdraft. You are 23 years old, and you pack dental supplies into boxes on the closing shift at a warehouse off Route 8 for $9.25 an hour. The overdraft fee is $35. You have paid it 4 times this month. That is $140, which is more than you spend on food, and you know this because you have started writing every number down. You figure out, alone, with a pen on the back of an envelope at 1 in the morning, that the bank posts your charges largest to smallest on purpose. The big one empties the account first, so every small one after it bounces and costs another $35. Nobody teaches you this. You learn it the way you will learn everything that matters, by losing money and refusing to lose it the same way twice. There is a man on your shift named Earl who is 59 and has done this exact job for 22 years and still overdrafts every month, and you watch him the way you would watch a weather report about your own future. He is not lazy, he is not stupid. He simply never once wrote a number down, and the not writing has compounded across 2 decades into a man who works 45 hours a week and owns nothing but a television and a debt to a furniture store in Cuyahoga Falls. You decide, standing at the tape gun beside him, that whatever separates the two of you, it will not be luck. Because luck is the story people tell when they refuse to look at the arithmetic. You stop buying lunch. Not to save, to survive. There is a difference between those two things, and you do not understand it yet. You will spend the next 3 decades learning it. Right now, you are not building anything. You are just trying to get the number back to 0. At 23, 0 looks like the summit of something. Stage 2, the envelope. You are 25 and you keep your money in paper now, not because you distrust banks, but because you cannot lie to an envelope. Groceries, gas, phone, rent, each one a sleeve of cash, and when the sleeve is empty, the category is closed until the first of the month. No exceptions. Not even the night the check engine light comes on, and you drive 12 days pretending it is a suggestion. You have $410 saved, it lives in a 5th envelope taped to the underside of a dresser drawer, and you do not tell your girlfriend it exists because the moment it becomes a number 2 people know is the moment it becomes a number that gets spent. You are learning the first rule of the quiet kind of money, which is that silence is not a personality, it is a strategy. What is invisible cannot be borrowed against, envied, or asked for. Your coworker Reggie leases a charger the same month, and everyone at the plant claps him on the back. $610 a month, 72 months. You do the multiplication in your head at the time clock. $43,920 to be admired for a weekend. You say congratulations. You mean it, almost. You go home and add $19 to the envelope under the drawer, and no one claps, and that is exactly the trade you are choosing without being able to name it. Stage 3. The side shift. You are 27 and you have a second life that starts at 10 p.m. 3 nights a week you drive a delivery route for a bakery distributor, dropping bread at gas stations and diners across 2 counties in a borrowed Honda that smells like yeast until it smells like your coat. $1,100 a month, cash adjacent, taxed, and tracked because you are done losing $35 to anyone. You tell no one at the warehouse. When Denise, your supervisor, asks why you look tired, you say you are sleeping badly, which is true and is not the reason. You have learned that a second income announced is a second income everyone assumes you can lend from, so the bread route does not exist. It is a rumor you keep from even your closest friends, and the $1,100 goes straight past your checking account into a savings account at a different bank, one with no card, one you have to physically drive to in order to withdraw from, which is the point. Money you cannot reach easily is money you cannot spend impulsively. The route teaches you a thing the warehouse never could, which is what money looks like when it is standing still in other people's lives. You watch a diner owner named Sal in Norton float his payroll on a credit card every 2 weeks and call it a cash flow problem when it is a spending problem wearing a nicer word. You watch a gas station clerk buy a scratch ticket with the change from her own register at midnight. You are moving through the country's small hours, delivering bread to people who are 1 bad month from the negative 1140 you started at, and you understand that the difference between them and you is not income. It is that you decided the arithmetic was the boss and they decided it was an opinion. By the end of the year, you have $8,000. You have never had $8,000. You sit in the yeast-smelling Honda in an empty lot in Barberton at 2 in the morning, and you look at the number on your phone for a long time, and you feel nothing you can show anyone, because there is no one to show, because you built it that way on purpose. The feeling is not happiness. It is a quiet, load-bearing kind of safety. You decide, without deciding, that you prefer it. Stage 4. The index fund. You are 29, and a man on a forum you will never meet in person tells you a sentence that reorganizes your entire life. You do not have to pick winners. You can just own everything and wait. You open a Vanguard account on a Tuesday night. You put in $6,000, your whole savings minus 1 month of expenses, into a single boring fund that owns a sliver of every public company in America. You do not tell a soul. The market drops 11% in March. Your $6,000 becomes $5,300 in 9 days. Reggie would have sold. Half the warehouse would have sold. You do the thing that is somehow harder than earning it, which is nothing. You keep feeding the account every 2 weeks, buying more of the same boring fund while it is on sale, and you learn the second rule of quiet money, which is that the loud emotion and the growing account cannot occupy the same body at the same time, so you kill the emotion. You stop checking the balance. You check it 4 times a year, in seasons, like a farmer. You marry a woman named Sandra, who teaches 3rd grade and clips coupons not out of fear, but out of habit inherited from her mother, and the two of you fit like 2 locks turned by the same key. You tell her the accounts exist. You show her the login. It is the first time you have let another human being see the whole number, and your hand is not quite steady when you type the password, because you are handing her the one thing you have never handed anyone, which is proof that the silence was building towards something. Stage 5, the 100,000. You are 33, and the accounts cross $100,000 on a Thursday in October, and nothing happens. No alarm, no confetti. You are standing in the parking lot of an Aldi with a cart of store-brand groceries and a phone in your hand, and the number that changes everything and looks like nothing changes on a screen the size of a playing card. You drive home in a 2004 Corolla with 191,000 miles on it, and a passenger door that only opens from the inside. The 100,000 is the strangest one because it is the first that is not yours anymore. Not entirely. It has started earning. $7,000 a year appears now without you lifting a box or driving a route, and you understand for the first time in your life what the loud people were actually buying when they bought chargers. They were buying the appearance of the thing. You are buying the thing. You run the math on the Corolla one night, half as a joke. A coworker keeps telling you to buy something reliable, a certified pre-owned SUV, $410 a month, and you sit down and calculate what $410 invested every month for the 7 years of that loan would become in the boring fund at 7%. And the answer is roughly $45,000, and then you calculate what those same dollars would be worth by the time you are 60, and the answer is a number large enough that you close the calculator and just sit there. That is the moment the frugality stops being fear and becomes something closer to faith. Every dollar you do not spend is not a dollar saved. It is a much larger dollar you have chosen to meet later. At the warehouse, they think you are struggling. Denise once quietly slipped you a gift card to a grocery store around the holidays because your coat is 9 years old and your car sounds like a coffee grinder, and you took it and said thank you and used it. Because correcting her would have cost you the invisibility that is worth more than any coat. You let people believe you are poor. It is a kind of clothing you wear on purpose. Sandra knows. Your accountant knows. That is the entire list, and you like the length of it. Stage 6, the million. You are 41, and it happens at a stoplight. The account crosses $1 million while you are waiting for a green arrow at the corner of Market and Exchange, and you feel the number land in your chest like a stone dropped into a deep well, the sound arriving a long time after the fall. You do not pull over. You do not call anyone. The light turns, and you turn with it, and you drive to pick up your daughter Nora from swim practice in the same Corolla, now at 240,000 miles. The door still opening only from the inside. $1 million is the loneliest number you have ever held because there is no one you are allowed to tell. Not your parents, who would ask, gently and then not gently, for help you can afford and cannot afford to start giving. Not your friends, who would look at you differently across every table for the rest of your lives. Not Nora, who is 9 and must not grow up knowing, because you have watched what knowing does to children, and you decided before she was born that she would earn her own zero the way you earned yours. So the million lives where the $410 lived, taped to the underside of a life no one is invited to inspect. Your father calls that month, the way he calls 3 or 4 times a year, and near the end of the conversation he mentions, not asking, just mentioning, that the transmission on his truck is going and it will be $2,000 he does not have. $2,000 is a rounding error in a life you cannot describe to him. You could wire it before he finishes the sentence and never feel the edge of it. Instead you say that is rough, Dad, and you let the silence sit. And you hate yourself for the length of it, because you have learned that the first gift is never the last gift, that money given to family is a door that does not close, and that a son who is suddenly, inexplicably able to solve $2,000 is a son who will spend the rest of his life explaining a number he swore to keep. So you drive over the next weekend and you spend 2 full days under the truck with him and a borrowed set of tools, and you fix it yourself for $300 in parts. And he thanks you, and neither of you knows that the labor you gave instead of the check was the more expensive gift by far, because it cost you the truth. You clip a coupon for laundry detergent the same week. Sandra laughs at you, and you laugh too, and the laughing is real. And neither of you mentions the number because mentioning it would break something you have both spent 12 years protecting. That night you stand in Nora's doorway and watch her sleep, and you feel the full, unbearable weight of the quiet, which is that you have finally completely won, and the prize is a secret you will carry alone into the ground. Stage 7, the compound. You are 49 and you have not touched a paycheck in a way that matters for years because the machine runs without you now. The accounts throw off more money in dividends and growth in an average month than you earned in a year at the warehouse. 2.8 million becomes 3.6 becomes 4.2. And the moves happen in 6-figure jumps you watch 4 times a year, in seasons still, because the habit that built it is the only habit you trust. You could stop, you know the number where you could stop, and you passed it a long time ago, and you did not stop, and this is the first time it occurs to you that the discipline might have curdled into something you no longer control. You still drive a paid-off car, a Honda now, 9 years old. You still eat the store brand. Oh, you reflexively calculate the true cost of a $40,000 truck in compounded decades, and the number frightens you, and you buy the used one instead. Again, the way you have always chosen the thing over the appearance of the thing, except now there is nothing left to protect against, and you are still protecting. Earl retired that year, or was retired, at 68. From the same warehouse with a going-away sheet cake and a pension that comes to $1,100 a month, the exact figure you once made in a month driving bread, and you send an anonymous envelope to the plant with $1,000 cash in it addressed to him. Because you cannot let him leave with nothing, and you cannot let him know it came from you. And you understand, as you seal it, that this is the only shape your generosity is now permitted to take. Folded, unsigned, invisible. A gift that must never have a face on it or the whole life comes apart. Nora is 17 and applying to colleges and thinks she will need loans. You let her think it. You have watched quietly for 17 years the exact way you watched the market, and you have decided she is nearly ready to be handed a truth without being ruined by it. But not yet. So she fills out the aid forms at the kitchen table, and you sit across from her the way your father never sat across from you, present and silent, a millionaire many times over pretending to worry about tuition, and you cannot tell which part of that is love and which part is a reflex you forgot how to switch off. Stage 8, the silence. You are 58 years old, and you are worth more money than the town you live in can imagine, and no one in it knows, and this morning you finally understand the price of that. Because Sandra asks you a question at breakfast, and you realize you have spent 35 years so practiced at showing nothing that you have forgotten how to show her anything either. She asks if you are happy, not about money, just happy. And you find that the muscle that would answer honestly has gone the way of an unused limb, because you built a life on the principle that whatever is visible can be taken, and you protected the money so well that you accidentally protected your own face the same way, kept it blank at the warehouse, blank at the stoplight, blank in every doorway, until blank became the only expression you have left. The invisibility that made you safe made you unreachable. The silence that built the fortune was the same silence that sat between you and everyone you loved, and you never learned there were 2 kinds. Nora is 26 now and lives in Columbus and calls on Sundays, and you know her the way you know the market, from a careful distance, in seasons. You could tell her everything today, the number, the envelopes, the bread route, the man named Howard who looked at the ceiling for you in 1998. You say the number out loud, all of it, for the first time in your life, and then you say the other thing, the harder thing, the thing the money was always standing in front of. You watch her face. You keep your own from going blank. You start, at 58, to learn the difference between hidden and safe. You finish your coffee. You do not check the balance. You go outside and start the car, and this time you let it run.